Hello, and I'd like to welcome you to YMCA Leicestershire's Impact Report for 2023-24. I hope you find the report interesting. It does give a reflection of the work that we've done over the year. I think a particular highlight this year is some of the videos that you'll get access to and the stories of not just staff, but the stories of young people and the difference that we've made to them. I'd also like to welcome Hayley, our new chair, and this is her first Impact Report. And we all look forward to working alongside you, making a difference to the lives of young people and providing a service for the communities of Leicestershire in the years going forward. I think the main things for the organisation in the past year have been the work that's been done around heritage. We've done a lot of work around our heritage project and engaging young people in the heritage. I think our commitment to try and increase our housing provision and the level of support we give to young people. Registering with Ofsted, under the new Ofsted regulations, all 16 and 17-year-olds need to be now accommodated in registered accommodation. We went through a long, challenging process to register and be successfully registered with Ofsted, so we can now house 16 and 17-year-olds under the new guidelines. The refurbishment of our children's home and successfully supporting a young person who had some particularly challenging needs to move from our children's home into independence. And then the other thing I think that was really big this year was the number of non-pay benefits that we brought in for staff. We're really committed to trying to supporting our staff and retaining our staff and also upskilling our staff. It's difficult for us to compete with external providers sometimes, but what we tried to bring in was non-pay benefits that hopefully have enhanced the employment of staff and will help us to retain staff. I think the most amazing thing about YMCA Leicestershire is that we just keep on doing what we do well. We work really well with young people. We're a people-based organisation. We empower young people to move forward in their lives. Some young people that have had quite challenging backgrounds. Every day is different, but every day is exciting. I've been here over 25 years now, and I still get out of bed every morning thinking about what can we do to make the lives of young people better, give young people more opportunities, and support our staff and the young people we work with to move forward in their lives for successful outcomes. I think we've adapted the way that we work with young people, specifically around the challenge of bringing in a new housing management system, around registering with Ofsted. That wasn't an easy process and it took a long time, and thank you to Jenny who really led on that in the absence of a housing director at the time. The biggest challenge I think we've had really is around the fact that there's very, very little opportunities for young people to move on. There's an element of bed blocking at the moment where when a young person's ready to move on from us, there isn't the local authority accommodation for them to move into, and it's even more difficult to access the private rented sector. So that's a big challenge, and what we're looking to do is try and increase in our provision, therefore we can support young people to move on and then free up beds down the chain, which enables more young people to move into our service. And if I say trustees first, trustees have contributed by being a critical friend to the executive team, by giving us constructive challenge and by supporting us to move forward. I mean, trustees' role is very much governance and helping to develop the strategic direction, and the role of the executive is the service delivery and service design. And I think the relationship between the two is critical. So I think trustees have been there. There's always been that critical friend and someone you can go to, specifically the chair for me, to talk about any issues that I think we're facing. Also making some big decisions financially. Trustees need to have confidence in the executive team when they're making financial decisions. And this year they've made one to look at how we can increase our housing provision, our children's home provision. It's interesting when you've been on the board a long time and you've tried to bring trustees in, when they've been on the board for 10, 12, 13 years and they're looking to move on, it's going to leave a gap in the organisation. But I specifically like to mention Phil Hawkins, who is the vice chair, has been vice chair for a number of years, and he's resigned off the board this year at the AGM. Phil's been someone I've known for maybe 20 years now, both working at the local authority and also here on the board. And I asked Phil to join the board 12 years ago really, having worked alongside him on the youth offending board for the county. The other person is Emma. Emma's been on the board for the same period of time, about 12, 13 years. Emma's an Ofsted inspector, so was a very critical friend in terms of our education provision, but has also been there and we've made some really tough decisions, like the refurbishment of the building, the changing of the dance studio into accommodation, and Emma always brings something to the meeting. There's been times where, because of her job and her role, she's struggled to get to meetings, but when she is there, her contribution is immense, and she's a really, really useful, critical friend, both personally and professionally. In relation to staff, the staff work endlessly well. They come in every day, they deliver service to young people, and some of our staff are pretty tired, but they keep going because the demands of young people are always there, and when a young person needs something, we have to respond. At the end of the day, those young people create the opportunity for us to work. So I'm grateful for the staff for what they've done. It's not been an easy year, it's been a challenging year. It's been challenging both in terms of the additional training that staff have needed in order to meet new requirements, but also in terms of cost of living and finances. It's always difficult, and that's not getting easier. And as a charity, we're struggling with some of that, but we're having to ensure that we look after the people that mean the most to us, which is our staff and our young people. So we've supported staff both through pay and non-pay. So where we've had to and where we've been able to, we've increased salaries. But we've also looked at what are the non-paid benefits that staff can get from working in the YMCA. So we've given birthday leave. We've also given long service leave, so you can get up to 5 days long service leave. We've introduced things like menopause policy with menopause leave, mental health first aiders within the service. We've also introduced death in service benefit, which it's a sticky subject. No one really wants to talk about death, but the reality of it is it's one thing that we're all guaranteed is going to happen. And what we're trying to do is ensure that if that does happen to one of our members of staff, that their family will get some benefit from that. So we've introduced that. We're bringing in a new HR management system, which will hopefully make us more efficient going forward. And we're also looking at other initiatives that we can bring in over the next 12 months that ultimately support staff. So one of the things we brought in last year, for instance, was a gym. There are a number of staff who are using the gym, which might save them £20 a month from gym membership. It's all part of the way forward. And the other thing that we've brought in is we've got a staff pantry now, where through our relationship with Fareshare, where staff can get access to food. For those staff who may be struggling just a little bit, they can get access to some of our Fareshare food. And that's not taking it away from those customers who really need it. That's an added element that we're doing with Fareshare in order to roll that out to some staff who might be struggling a little bit. I think the charity is inspiring to businesses and supporters because we make a real difference. I think people walk through the door and they don't actually see what we do straight away. They don't see the impact, and the impact is hard to measure if you're only getting a snapshot. But I think over the years, if a business is involved with us and partnering with us, they actually see the contribution we make to the lives of young people and the difference we make. You've only got to walk into the door and see the relationship that some of the young people have with our staff. And that's across the board. That's from staff who only work a few hours right up to the CEO. You know, my office door is always open, and quite often young people will come in here just to nick chocolate from the chocolate tin. But it's that keeps us going. That's what makes us unique. We're not airs and graces. We roll up our sleeves and muck in. And no matter what a young person needs or wants, if it's within our power, we'll try and do it. Sometimes we have to say no, but we give a reason for saying no. But 9 times out of 10, the decisions that we make and the actions that we take are for the benefit of the young people we work with. A number of things on the horizon for YMCA Leicestershire. We want to increase our supported housing provision, and that's something that we're actively looking at. We want to increase our work with looked after young children, and that's something that we're actively looking at. But we're also looking to refresh our business plan and build into our business plan Vision 2030, which is the YMCA World Vision. And we want to ensure that the 4 pillars under Vision 2030 sit within our 5 pillars. Those pillars being community wellbeing, meaningful work, sustainable planet and a just world. All of those sit clearly within our 5 pillars, and what I've got to do this year is to make sure that those 4 pillars from the World Vision are underpinned by our 5 pillars and vice versa, and ensuring that everything we do sits within that. It is great to have a world vision, and it's great that YMCAs throughout the whole world are working to one vision. It's the first time I've seen it, and I've got to make sure that my contribution is positive to that world vision.